it gives me great pleasure to introduce to you philanthropist, creative innovator, futurist, entertainer, technology investor, and all-round wonderful human being. It's Will.i.am. Hello, Will.
Hello. Hey, everybody.
It's been a couple of years. We see each other normally every year here at the World Economic Forum in Davos. You, of course, won the Crystal Award in 2016. What does being here mean for you, Will?
For me, it means it shows the kids that are part of the philanthropic work that I do what we're capable of coming from the inner city. When we apply ourselves to whatever field, we encourage our kids to take an interest in science, technology, engineering, mathematics. And the investments that I've made in tech and into other companies, as well as forming my own companies, to be here, welcomed here, collaborate up here at WEF, meeting other companies, and them sharing their top talent to be mentors for our students, to encourage and inspire them to continue down that path. It's transformational. It's more than just like, yeah, I came here, took some pictures with some rich people. Nope. This is purposeful and really just going out and gathering as many mentors as possible for our students.
When you joke about that, Will, saying taking pictures with rich people, of course, Davos is criticized for being elitist. Do you think that's unfair criticism?
Criticized for being elitist? Well, there's elite people here. Some of them
people want to see things get done, and do you feel that things do get done here?
Let's take Mark Benioff. That guy is the most inspirational, transformational CEOs of a company. And they're the company's company, right? They provide tools for companies to work better, align, organize, understand their customers. And he doesn't have to do philanthropic work. He doesn't have to plant 1 trillion trees. He doesn't have to, donate his time to mentor other folks that are out there trying to solve problems. He just does it because that's, it's in his DNA. And there's a lot of Mark Benioffs that come up to Davos at World Economic Forum. And then there's a lot of CEOs that don't care. And the unfortunate truth is that we ignore the folks that come up here that do care. We pay too much attention to the folks that are only about finance and that only care about their shareholders and not stakeholders and not becoming stakeholders. So I like to look at the Mark Benioffs for the cues and ignore the folks that ignore, the fires. Yeah.
And this year you were co-chairing Africa House. Tell me how that went and what was your mission there?
I've been coming here. This is my 9th year at Davos. 9th. Yep, 9th. 2 of which there was no Davos. But out of all the times I've been here, the Africa House, the love, heart, soul, culture, vibrancy, excitement, optimism, I've never felt that here at Davos like I did the past couple of days at Africa House. It brought a different spirit to what's happening here, different energy.
And why do you think that is, Will?
Because Africa is, there's so much opportunity there. So many entrepreneurs that are going to come from there that are going to change the world by solving their problems with today's tools. For so long, the powers that be ignored that part of the world and only saw them as a resource. The land they live on as resource, and if you go back, the people themselves as resource. And that day is obviously done because you see this vibrancy coming from the continent. You see these new folks that want to solve their problems with today's technology, and the technology is the cavalry. And unfortunately, the humanity has ignored it. The inhumane practices have ignored their cries. But they're their own cavalry, and that's inspirational to see that. Like, yo, let's bring it. It was beautiful.
Well, Will, talking about inspirations, you've had your foundation that has helped so many young people, and you've just announced a new public-private partnership with the foundation, helping to close the digital divide in your neighborhood at home. Tell me about that.
So I've had my foundation for almost 12 years now. I started with 65 kids, and now that's growing to the tune of 12,000 students in Los Angeles, teaching kids robotics and computer science. We've sent kids to Dartmouth and Brown and Stanford. The majority of our students go to school for engineering and apply themselves, disciplining themselves so they could fill tomorrow's jobs or create jobs of the future. But during COVID, we realized that if you live in a poverty-stricken area, you didn't realize how important school was, not only for the student, but for the parents. And when you have to learn from home and you have no connectivity, you're not learning from home. You have to, and if you live in an area that's, has a lot of crime, you have to then go to a place where there's Wi-Fi, and the child is like in the intersection of crime. So a kid's not learning. And so we solved that just a couple of weeks ago, thanks to WeLink and thanks to Garcetti, the old mayor of LA, and the Housing Authority to help, bridge that divide. And now that the footprint in a couple of mile, like maybe over 5 mile radius from where the zone for the, high speed, no cost internet. The kids have access to, 5G speed connectivity for no cost. And it's I'm really happy with the work that we've done because, it was heartbreaking to realize that truth during COVID, that the kids couldn't learn because they had no connectivity, because the parents had to figure out, what am I going to spend my money on? Food. I'm working 2 jobs. My kids used to go to school and ate breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I could only afford dinner because breakfast and lunch was provided by the school. Now I have to pay for 3 meals. So I want my kids to eat and not have connectivity. So those are the choices that inner city families have to decide between. And so now we fix that. They don't have to pay for connectivity because connectivity should be a human right, like drinking water on tap. It's there. And connectivity should be looked at the same.
Could the young Will.i.am ever have imagined the difference that he would make to help his old community in the future? I mean, I've been with you to where you came from, Will, a few years ago. We filmed there together. Could you have ever imagined the difference you could make?
No. I knew the difference what my mom was able to do, and, she signed us up to pass out food. Imagine you're, 7 years old and there's a free summer lunch program because when you're not going to school, you're not eating lunch. And the neighborhood provides free lunch. And the one thing poor people don't want is when rich people come and give them food. So my family signed up to give the free food to the poor families, and we were one of the poor families because you want to have dignity. And so that's what we did in our neighborhood, is we were part of the community, passing out free food and then taking our food back home. And it was beautiful. As crazy as that may sound, that was a horrible life to live, it was a beautiful experience because everyone was poor, but we were all there for one another. And it was the most culture. I grew up in an all-Mexican neighborhood, predominantly Mexican. It was the most... I wouldn't change my past if you gave me $1 trillion. If you would say, here's $1 trillion, give me your memories of the past, or this trillion bucks. Like, now I'll keep my memories of the past. Because these memories will get me there anyhow. But you can't take that from me. You can't take my love for my community, my love for my neighbors. That was beautiful.
Do you feel it's changed, though, now, Will, in the sense that America today to the rest of the world seems so polarized?
Well, America was always polarized. If you were black, that's maybe new for y'all. But it was always that. It was always... you always had to... This incident just happened last week in L.A. Somebody hits this guy. He's in a car. They crash into his car. They total his car. He runs out, tries to flag down a police officer. Look what this guy did in my car. He's obviously emotionally distressed. And he's yelling at the person that hit his car. The police officer says, calm down. He's obviously not calm. His whole freaking life is, everything he probably worked for is destroyed. The cop that he flagged down threw him on the floor. He's struggling, trying to get up. I didn't do anything. They hit me. And as they told him to lay on his stomach, he was trying to resist because what did he do? He just got hit by a car. What did I do? I tried to flag you down to help resolve this. They tase him. They tase him to death. It's America for folks of color. You try to flag down a police officer, and sometimes what's there to protect you hurts you. And not every police officer is bad. My aunt works for the police department, and thank you for the work that my aunt does. Thank you for all the freaking awesome police officers that do awesome work protecting the community. But then there's also some just like foul officers that take advantage of that little club they have. And that little club has been a detriment to folks in the inner city for years. Because there's this, cradle to prison pipeline. Because in America, prisons are privatized. And if you have kids living in a community where you're not investing in their education, a lot of times they're in and out of juvenile hall. And then they end up in prison making products, getting paid, slave labor. And that is America's reality. So polarized, that's how it's been since, freed slaves. And building railroads because they were criminals. That's still going on right now. In the 80s, people sold marijuana. They went to jail for 20 years selling a product that's legal now. It's crazy. And then when they get out of prison, they can't work in those companies selling weed that they went to jail for. It's insane, actually, if you think about it. That's the States. And I love the country. But like every country, there's problems. And then there's folks that are out there trying to pave new paths. And, if prisons is business, let's compete business with business. Hey, kids, here's a different path. How about computer science? How about robotics? How about solving problems and building companies? Here goes some mentors from NASA, mentors for Boeing. Thank you, NASA. Thank you, Boeing, for coming and bringing, your awesome talent to come and mentor our kids in Boyle Heights.
You're making a difference, Will. You're doing something about it. Your foundation is, and you can see the results. What else would you like people to do to change this?
Be a little bit more empathetic and have a heart. Money is not everything. Greed. If you want to tackle the world's problems, it's really centered at greed. You should simplify it with greed. Greed is the illness of humanity. when you want to just have so much that it creates so much unbalance. Climate change, it's greed. Every problem we have is greed. People are just freaking greedy. If we could get greed right, we're going to be all right. War, greed. Greed.
You've had an enormous success, of course, with your career, and you're using your global platform and your voice to do good. What are the challenges ahead for you in that sphere, do you feel?
Say that again?
You're doing wonderful work with your foundation. You've had huge success in your career, and you use your voice, your global voice, to do better. What other initiatives would you like to take on, in the sense, to help other people?
Take what we're doing and the success that we had and taking it to other areas that need that recipe. The continent of Africa, places like Nigeria is awesome. How do we take the work that we're doing there to make, the areas that need awesome sauce? How do we sprinkle that there in Nigeria, Ghana, all throughout the continent? I want to do that. Brazil can use that recipe as well. Just do more and show that technology can help solve the problems that we've been struck with. The world will get more technological. Whatever business that you're in, that business is now a tech business. If you're a farmer, that's tech now. If you're medicine, that's tech. Biotech, synthetic biology. If you're finance, tech. If you're a lawyer, you better watch out for generative AI. Right? Your lawyer, 2040, the best lawyer in the world is an AI. People that are, can't afford the best legal representation, they're going to have access to the best AI that understands law, can help you fight your case yourself. Those are all things that are right around the corner. But how do we ensure that we address the biases, algorithmic biases, to ensure that people are protected by these algorithms? We need to be writing the algorithms and training the data to ensure that we're protected in this, generative AI world that we're now in.
People fear it, though, Will, don't they? They're worried. I mean, technology is obviously, it moves us forward, but they're fearful of what could happen.
You know what? That happened before. It's not the first time. Imagine you made horse and buggy. You made the buggy for horses. That's what your family did ever since freaking Egyptians, right? And chariots. And then all of a sudden, here comes a car. You know how many people were afraid of the freaking car that was doing this all day on a freaking horse and buggy for hundreds of years? Imagine if you were the lantern maker, your whole family in the village, you made the lanterns for everybody in the village. And now somebody came with electricity and the light bulbs. You know how many people were afraid? But look at the world now. Whenever something comes out that's brand new, folks that are complacent and stuck on tradition, it comes with the territory. But then the creative people are like, you know what we can do with this? Do you know how the world's going to change with this? And we have to unlock that creativity. Every single person has the ability to imagine. They're just afraid that they're going to be ridiculed by bringing an idea to the table. There's no such thing as bad ideas. It's just some ideas are better than others. But it's all right if somebody says your idea is not that good. That's cool. Come up with another one. That's what it's about. And here we have new tools to solve problems. And if you unlock that creative spark within you to, be a part of the conversation on how these tools could help make the world better, then there's no need to be afraid. just know that as a collective, as a species, as eliminating greed, that we will be freaking amazing. There's a lot of folks that are like, yo, man, this AI stuff's going to take over. Nah. I believe in humanity too much. You know, gorillas are stronger than us. We're here. Lions are the king of the jungle. We're here. Bears can rip us apart. We're here. Birds fly higher than us. Oh, so do we. Some people could say, well, now AI and this new technology can create too. And guess what? That's just going to push us to be even better. Because don't forget, we are spirit. We have love. And no machine can outlove us. And the moment we get rid of greed, we will be even better to each other. Our spirit will freaking shine. And if you want to compare it to movies, then let's just compare it to, I'd rather compare it to Star Wars than Terminator. Because in Star Wars, there were AIs, there were all different types of robots, not just one product. Terminator's one product. You don't see any, and then they upgraded and had that little freaking silver dude that melted and molted. But it's still one company. What's awesome about Star Wars is that there's all these different types of robots, all these different types of AI. Freaking 3CPO speaks different than R2D2, but they understand each other. And then there's the Jedi. And the Jedi is a heightened human with spiritual capabilities. And maybe the reason why those AIs and those robots existed was to push humanity to a place that we've always were supposed to be. And that is spiritual, loving, awesome beings. And there's nothing to be afraid of when we truly look at how we're supposed to live. And that is, without greed, without fear, all loving, helping one another out, and using your creativity to solve freaking problems. And tech is just a tool to amplify that.
What technology are you most excited about, Will, yourself? And I believe you're also the co-founder and CEO of FYI. Tell me about that.
Well, I can't really get into details about that because we haven't launched yet. And I don't want to let us launch. And then
we'll have a conversation.
Then we'll have a conversation.
Yeah.
The technology that I'm excited about the most now is artificial intelligence. That is, it's always been here, like some version of AI, whether it's command-driven, ASR, that understands how we speak, natural language understanding, natural language processing, for you to tell the machine commands. Hey, such and such, turn on the lights. Hey, such and such, play Beyonce. Hey, such and such, pause, right? It's always 3 syllables. Hey, Siri, Alexa, hey, Mercedes, 4. Mercedes, they don't have a hey because it's a 3-syllable. For whatever reason, that's what was the parameters. And it's always like sharp consonants, so the machine understands the wake-up word. But it's a wake-up word to tell the machine a command. And the technology has come so far that it's not command-driven. It's conversational computing. So that means you don't have to search the internet. You just talk to it. And you'll be able to guide it. And it will be your co-pilot. And if you wanted to create something, you don't have to worry about how do I code. There will be new types of platforms where the AI will code to help you materialize an idea. This is a new renaissance that we're in. New types of, products and companies will spawn because of this. It's like, imagine what the world was like in 1992 versus 2002 versus 2012. If you were a developer, those are 3 different types of developing environments. 2012, you were an app developer. 2002, you wrote software for some big mainframe computing company. But the transformation on mobile computing spawned all these different types of companies. Right? You couldn't have an Uber on a freaking desktop at home. You needed the computer to be out there in the world. and you swiped and tapped, and cars came to you, right to where you are. You can see your products as it's coming to you. That's amazing transformation in how we engage with machines and communicated and did tasks. And now here we are, a new paradigm, Web 3.0. What it's going to do, it's up to the freaking dreamer and the creative community to decide what these new technologies. Right now is the most excited time to create, the most excited time to solve problems right now. And we're going to define what 2032, 2042 is going to be like. The next 20 years, what? You're not going to recognize. Just like we couldn't recognize, like, what? I can't believe black people in freaking New York, cabs didn't stop for them. You couldn't even imagine. But black people had to deal with that in New York in the 80s or all across the states around the world, not being stopped for. Did government solve that problem? Did the cab company solve that problem? Or did Uber solve that problem? Indirectly. Technology solved inhumane, divided racism, prejudice, just stopping for someone. And they did it with a technology that our parents told us never to do. Don't get in car with strangers. And now you get in car with strangers, bro. The parents said, don't go into strangers' homes. That's a product too. That's called Airbnb.
That's true.
Everything, don't take food from strangers. I just ordered my food. I don't even know your name. Thank you. Thank you so much. Wait, where's my shake? That's Postmates, freaking Deliveroo. Everything that was hitchhiking, all those things that were taboos are now just businesses and normalized now. Odd concepts of staying in people's bedrooms and couches that were available are products. What is 2030 going to be like? What are the norms? And it's exciting right now.
It is exciting, Will, and hopefully we'll be here in 2030 to figure that out together. Just before I let you go, I just want to take you to your core, you're performing with Black Eyed Peas, and what it means to you to go out on the stage.
That's brotherhood, it's love, it's our childhood, all the dreams we had when we were struggling, like, yo, imagine one day we go to London and we made it to London. Imagine one day we could move our families. We did that. Imagine one day we could buy ourselves houses. We did that. And it was all from writing. And writing songs to bring people joy. And we collaborated with ourselves. And to come up with like, oh man, I can't work out this line. Like sometimes it took hours. Sometimes days. And now, these ideas are coming so fast when you freaking collaborate with AI. What? That is the most... You know how many ideas I could freaking like come up with now that I have like a banter partner at idea speed? If that's what we can do then, imagine what the youth are going to do now. You know, I work with computers. I make music on computers. And I didn't talk to the computer. It took so long to get the idea out of my head into the computer to mold and shape it for it to reflect exactly how I'm feeling. That's like almost instant now with today's tech. So kids that are 15, they're going to have an amazing time dreaming with their little demographic, their community. They're going to have an amazing time creating. It's an awesome time. If I had to start all over again, I would code.
Really?
Yeah, I would tour the world with the software ideas that we unearth. That's the most creative community in the world, are the folks that are making these tools.
And just finally, Will, how proud are your family of you and everything that you've achieved in so many sectors?
Oh, that's one thing. They keep me grounded. They actually don't pay attention to it, which is great. Because the moment everybody's like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, then you're going to freaking like be floating. Sometimes you need people to be like, you need to put some lotion on. Oh, really? God darn it. You need somebody to be like, yo, your breath is stinking. That's what it's like going home, you know? I just brushed my teeth. Well, I still smell it. Like, you need your family to freaking like, and I love that about my family. I go out and do work, and I'm still Willie, right? And you need that. Or else just, you get disconnected from humanity when somebody's always carrying your bags. Security is keeping you from people. You living in this isolated bubble. No one's telling you that your idea sucks. You need that. I see too many people that come from my world that think their farts smell like roses. They think everything they do is like the best. We know what happens to that, to those types of folks. But I'm so happy that I'm blessed that my friends and my family are like, I float naturally. I'm always in the clouds thinking, but I'm also grounded.
Well, we are thrilled that you could join us here today and spend time with us here at the CNBC Sanctuary. Thank you so much. Will.i.am.